Hi everybody, I'm Philip Duncan. Thank you for joining us. Well, around the country at the moment, the westerlies are blowing through and things are actually fairly mild. And that's because we're in an air pressure sandwich. Let me explain. We've got a big low down here to the south. In fact, it's a storm, gale force winds around it. To the north, a lazy big high. And between all of that, we've got the westerly winds, mostly west to northwest, which is why Tuesday is quite a pleasant day, especially along the eastern and very northern areas, although there are some showers that are moving up the western coastline, making for another damp and cloudy day over there. This is how Wednesday looks. That big dark blue line indicates colder air moving through, but unlike last week, it is not a major southerly. It's actually more of a southwesterly, and that makes a very big difference with the temperatures. It is much warmer with this cold snap, if that makes sense. So last week we were talking about single digit highs all over the South Island. Well, not with this setup. Single digit highs more likely in the southwestern corner. So Fiordland, maybe up around Queenstown, Wanaka, maybe into central Otago. Other areas in the low double digits, like 10s, 11s and 12s. That's around Southland and up the west coast. But once you get further up around Canterbury, the sun combined with a bit of a westerly flow means even though it's a colder change, your high still could get up into the mid-teens. So it's not too bad. Moves up into the north, a few snow showers maybe around the mountains there. And also note the dryness around the South Island. I said yesterday the alpine passes could get snow. It looks less likely now based on this update, but do keep up to date. Obviously there's a fair bit of energy moving around on Wednesday. By Thursday though, that cold air has pretty much moved on and we're back to warming up again, back to the late teens and maybe even the 20s for the North Island in some areas as the winds switch more westerly. High pressures out to the west there. That's basically flirting with the country. It's not coming in just yet. So on Friday, you'll see that high very close to us, but there's also another burst of wind from a low that's down the Southern Ocean. So another burst of strong winds. They could be gale force. It'll push the temperatures up again through eastern areas of both islands. It'll be a warm end to the week there, but a colder end to the week on the western side as that front comes in with heavy rain, maybe a thunderstorm. And you've also got that colder change sweeping in down around Southland later on. Now to the weekend, and it's a windy Saturday in many places, a bit cooler as well. Southwesterlies blowing right across the country, a very weak front moving in towards Waikato and Auckland, just bringing a few showers and just encouraging those southwest winds to continue, although it's mostly calm further north around Northland and around the eastern side of the North Island, fairly mild. And we end on Sunday where that high gets closer. And I've got to say the latest maps show this high could affect New Zealand for much of next week. So we really do get a nice pause in the wind and rain. But the only downside as it comes in, it might be a little more northern focused. That could encourage more west to southwest winds continuing around the southern part of the country. But by Sunday, the winds do start to ease. They continue a little bit on the west coast there, still with a couple of showers, mainly isolated. Sunday looks pretty dry, and by next week should be dry as well. And just lastly, the theme of rain over the next 7 days is pretty simple. Wet on the west coast, dry on the east coast. Wettest, the further south you go, and driest, the further north you go. So I think that's not too hard to work out. That's all from me. We'll update you again on Wednesday with the latest.